Good afternoon, sixth graders. For your science pod day today, we are doing a few things. Before we get into anything winter solstice, part of science today was to talk about the Jefferson selfie banner and give you a chance to take your self portraits for that banner. So, best practices when taking pictures. Obviously, you're going to be in the classroom, so make sure you're in a well lit area, make sure the lights are on. If you can be in front of a blank wall, so going in front of those white bricks or red bricks in our classroom, that would be awesome. That way we can see your face. Frame your face in the camera, that way we can see your entire face. And then use your Chromebook because you're going to have to upload this picture to a Google form on your Chromebook. So you can take a picture of yourself. You can have someone else take it for you. It doesn't necessarily have to be a true selfie from your Chromebook. Now, what we are going to do first is we are going to take a second. That way you can take your selfie portrait and upload it to the Google Drive. So, in order to take your selfie portrait, you are going to click on this link right here. It is going to take you to a Google form. You're going to enter your first and last name in the Google form. You're going to enter your first period teacher's name. If you don't know how to spell it, ask. We can look it up. And if we can't, we'll just sound it out with you. You are going to frame your face in the camera. That way you can take your picture. And then you are going to take it and submit it in the Google Form. Okay, so moving on to the winter solstice, which is our whole thing we are doing today in science. So, since prehistory, so since we've been able to record history, the winter solstice has been a significant time of the year in many cultures and has been marked by many festivals and rituals around the world. It marked the symbolic death and rebirth of the sun. So the gradual waning of daylight hours is reversed. And begins to grow again. So now that we've hit the winter solstice on December 21st, which is today, our days are going to get longer. So instead of having shorter days where the sun goes down at 4 p.m. or 5 p.m., now our sun is going to stay out longer and rise earlier. So, what is the winter solstice? Okay, we're going to take a break to try and answer this question. So, the first question is, how does the diagram represent sunlight hitting parts of Earth differently? Your answers are: the dotted line shows the tilt of Earth's axis towards the sun. B, brighter colors show where the most sunlight hits Earth. Or C, the arrow shows the place where sunlight reaches. So if we look at this video, what is happening? I'm going to give you a second to try and think of the answer. Aw, man, A is not correct. So if you said A, that's not quite correct. B is correct. Okay, this is the second question I'm going to have you guys think about. During an equinox, the sun appears to travel across the horizon at the poles. Draw or explain the position of Earth in relation to the sun that causes this to happen. Okay, so I'm going to give you a second to think about it. A possible answer you could think of is during an equinox, the earth is positioned where there is an equal sunlight hitting the northern and the southern hemispheres. So, your third question is during the June solstice, the northern hemisphere is pointing almost directly towards the sun. What is happening in the southern hemisphere during the June solstice? A, it's experiencing the longest days in terms of sunlight. B, it's experiencing the shortest days in terms of sunlight. Or C, it's experiencing exactly 12 hours of sunlight and 12 hours of night. I'm going to give you a second to try and figure it out. If you said B, you are correct. Okay, so again, your last question is draw or explain how a model representing the movements of Earth and the sun could be used to predict future seasons. I'm going to give you a second to talk with your group and think about your answer. A possible answer could include you could create a digital model with a sun and a planet that has the same size and movements as Earth. You could set each rotation to mimic the movements of Earth through a year. The time could be sped up to observe patterns that could be used to predict future seasons. Okay. Now that you have some background about the winter solstice and why we have it, we are going to talk a little bit about the celebrations that happen around the world because of the winter solstice. So, we're going to be visiting 5 different places. So, on your passport, you are able to mark all 5 of these places. We are visiting Peru, which is down here in South America. We are visiting Scandinavia, which is up here. We are visiting ancient Rome. We are going to be visiting Iran and China. All 5 of these places have winter solstice celebrations. And lastly, for the rest of class today, you are going to be doing one of two activities. So you have two options. I have option one is to construct a giant snowflake. So there is a video linked on the agenda slide. This snowflake symbolizes the start of winter. So if you want to create a snowflake, this is your step-by-step guide on how to do that. All of your materials are in the classroom. You can find the paper as well as the scissors and the tape. If you do not want to create a snowflake, I also have option two where you can color symbolic images. So various coloring sheets will also be put by the paper with markers and crayons and colored pencils. That way you can color the things that symbolize the start of winter and also the return of the sun. For the rest of class today, those are your two options. If you have any questions, please ask your substitute.